Time now for a look at today's business news, and we're starting with Facebook, which is reporting a rise in profits. Cole Stangler is here to tell us more. Cole.
That's right, Stephen. It's coming, of course, at a very difficult time for the company, Facebook. It's faced a wave of criticism after leaked documents show how it failed to curb a series of problems on its site. Still, though, the firm can point to strong third-quarter results. From July to September, Facebook pulled in some $9 billion in profits. That's up nearly 17% from the same stretch last year, as it benefits from a growing number of users. But from public scrutiny to new privacy rules, no shortage of challenges lie ahead. Catherine Viet reports.
Facing accusations that it prioritizes profits over people, Facebook announced its third-quarter results. The social media giant posted a jump, earning $9.1 billion in profits for the period from July to September. That's a 17% increase compared to the same period a year ago. However, the company said that changes to privacy features by Apple that make it harder to deliver targeted ads had an impact, as did global supply chain disruptions, which hurt advertising demand. CEO Mark Zuckerberg strove to present a rosier picture of his company's future after fresh claims of unethical behavior made by a whistleblower. Frances Haugen has released reams of internal documents that paint the company in a less than flattering light.
I think there is a view inside the company that safety is a cost center. It's not a growth center. It is cheaper substantially to run an angry, hateful, divisive ad than it is to run a compassionate, empathetic ad.
Still, over the past 12 months, Facebook says its monthly user base has increased by 6% to 2.9 billion. Meanwhile, Zuckerberg announced plans for a company pivot to place a greater focus on engaging young adults from 18 to 29 in a tacit acknowledgement to rival TikTok's growing popularity. Zuckerberg has also announced the firm would spend $10 billion on its new metaverse division, known as the Facebook Reality Labs, to create a virtual and augmented reality platform. Finally, Facebook says it will buy back $50 billion worth of company stock.
Well, investors evidently encouraged by those Facebook earnings and by that buyback announcement. Shares posting gains in extended hours trading up 1.7%, as you can see here, trading at over $334 per share. European markets continuing that positive trend on Wall Street, some slight gains across the board at the open, with the DAX up about 0.5% there. Investors also taking in better than expected earnings from Swiss bank UBS. More of a mixed bag on the major Asian markets, with the Nikkei leading the pack here, up nearly 2%. That's despite losses in Shanghai and Hong Kong. Investors this week also closely monitoring talks in Washington, with Congress hoping to finalize a pair of major spending bills for the end of the week. Well, next up, Tesla is joining a very elite group of companies. Elon Musk's firm is now the fifth in the world to be valued at over $1 trillion and the only automaker in the bunch. The milestone came after a deal to supply some 100,000 cars to the rental firm Hertz. That's the biggest ever rental order for electric vehicles. Shares skyrocketed as a result, though the reaction did seem to puzzle CEO Elon Musk. While celebrating the deal with Hertz, he said Tesla's problem isn't demand. The bigger challenge, he said, is producing vehicles. Meanwhile, one of those other companies, valued at over $1 trillion, is facing pushback from employees. Workers at an Amazon warehouse in New York City have filed for an election to form a union, hoping to become the first such group of Amazon employees in the U.S. Organizers say they hope to represent over 5,000 workers, citing concerns over safety and low wages. Amazon has historically opposed unions and says it prefers having a direct relationship with employees.
Went to space, came back, said thank you for paying for it. That was a slap in the face to everybody. So what this company represents is putting profits above people. They ran completely off of metrics. We watch our coworkers get carried out on stretches every other day. And we want to fight back for what we rightfully deserve. And that's what we're here to do today. This is a step in the right direction.
And to wrap up, Australia says it will finally aim to hit net zero carbon emissions by 2050. It's according to Prime Minister Scott Morrison, speaking days ahead of the UN Climate Summit in Glasgow. Symbolically, it's a big move for a country that's one of the largest exporters of coal and natural gas. But Morrison insists the target is possible without shutting down coal production. He also said Australia wouldn't strengthen its 2030 target with the private sector reducing emissions on its own.
Australians' actions on climate change speak louder than the words of others. We're getting it done on emissions reduction. That is the Australian way.
Well, Stephen, this conflict between state regulation and self-regulation obviously goes well beyond Australia, and certainly something we'll see on display at this UN Climate Summit coming up on Sunday.
And we'll be covering in detail here on France 24 as well. Coast Angler with today's business news. Thank you.